It's time for the Catholic Lunch Break, where we catch up on everything Catholic in Houston. We have a great program lined up for you today on the 7th week of Easter and right after Ascension Sunday. Yeah, I said Ascension Sunday there, of course. I'm sure most of you yesterday did get the Ascension sermon, unless you're in the Ordinariate, which I know you went on Thursday, of course, because Father Jeff Boehm at the Co-Cathedral had a great way of putting it. He started off by saying, so 40 days after the resurrection, Jesus ascended into heaven. But we're a little bit late today. So 40 days plus 3, and now plus 4. But it was after Vatican II. They moved it to Sunday so that more people would focus their attention on it. But that also has the effect of making it like every other Sunday. So whether you attended Resurrection or Ascension on Thursday or Sunday, thank you for joining us here on the Catholic Lunch Break. And we're going to be moving ahead. There's lots of great stuff happening in the Catholic community of Houston. And this is the one place that I know of where we don't talk about national stuff. We only talk about Houston stuff and Houston Catholic stuff. So my name is Tim Mott. I'm the general manager of this radio station, part of the Guadalupe Radio Network. We have a great crew behind the scenes. David Magianes floating around and supervising. Taylor Van Nest running the board today. How are you doing, Taylor? Did you have a good weekend?
I had a great weekend.
Yeah, I know where you were on Saturday doing the Spirit World. But yeah. Where'd you go to church on Sunday?
Holy Ghost.
Holy Ghost. Okay,
Yeah.
Father Bill Beakey. Okay,
Yeah.
great church there with the Redemptorist.
My parents got married there too.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Well, thank you very much for running the board today. Carol Herrera, our awesome volunteer. You got the video set up without Valeria because she's on her summer break now. But how are you? How are you, Carol?
I'm doing great, and I bet you know what I did this weekend too.
Where did you go to church?
Well, Saturday, I was here.
Yes, you were here with Spirit World too. You were.
I was here. I was part of the team.
You were part of the team. You're becoming like a regular radio pro here. I mean, you didn't have a
Oh, my
career in radio
goodness.
before this, did you?
No, I didn't. It was in television.
Yeah, that's what I
Back
thought.
in
Okay,
the
see,
days,
your
Tim,
skills
way
are
back.
showing. Your skills are showing. But now you're a volunteer for us. I love it. I love it.
Yes,
So,
thank
but
you.
on your pilgrimage though, to visit every single church in the Archdiocese, where did you end up yesterday?
Well, first of all, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for listening. And yes, this beautiful weekend, Sunday, I went to Ascension Sunday. I went to the Shrine of the True Cross in Dickinson, Texas, which is about 45 minutes away from here, south.
Yeah,
South
Shrine of the
Oakland.
True Cross is a great church.
Yes, it's really nice, Tim. And if I could talk more about it, or
Please,
you want to
yes.
come back
No,
to
no,
me?
no,
Great,
no, no.
great,
Now
great.
is a great. Actually, since you're so eager to do it, let's do our prayer first.
That's right.
And then you will be
First
our
things
first
first.
interview. But quick teaser. We've got Ricardo Medina from the Office of Family Life coming up as our DSF feature ministry of this month. Plus, Christy Salinas from Blessed Beginnings of Catholic Charities, and Dr. Rick Lopez with the Office of Worship about a brand new summer choral festival that is happening just in a couple weeks, I believe. So we're going to be talking about all kinds of great stuff, plus Wyatt's got a report from Mary Queen, and we have our Loving Choice Minutes. But let's start with a prayer like we always do. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, that never was it known that anyone who fled to thy protection, implored thy help, or sought thine intercession was left unaided. Inspired by this confidence, I fly unto thee, O Virgin of Virgins, my mother. To thee do I come, before thee I stand, sinful and sorrowful. O Mother of the Word incarnate, despise not my petitions, but in thy mercy hear and answer me. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, so if you want to see the video that Carol is so graciously running while she talks to us, you can go to any of our social media channels, look for GRN Online. That's GRN Online, and then you'll be able to find it on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. If you go to our website, you can find links for it there. That's grnonline.com. But Carol, okay, so Shrine of the True Cross, you are on this pilgrimage to visit every single parish in the Archdiocese, and you haven't been to the Shrine of the True Cross before?
No, I haven't. I thought I
Wow.
had.
Okay.
You know, Tim,
What did you think?
Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I went to their 12 p.m. Mass, which was in Spanish. And it just, Mass, the homily especially, it just resonated. I mean, it really did. It's Ascension Sunday. And I mean, it just meant so much, Mass was packed, and I think it meant a lot to everybody else too. Father Larry Wilson is the pastor there, and he did it in English, I mean, in Spanish, but also spoke a little bit about it in Spanish as well. I mean, in English as well.
So it was a bilingual
So it was
sermon.
yes,
Okay.
somewhat bilingual. So
Nice.
yes, it was really nice. I don't know if you've been there before. Have you been?
Not for a mass. I have
Okay.
not been there for a mass, but I did get to drop off some bumper stickers and flyers there once.
Okay, well, it's absolutely beautiful, and they actually have a relic of the true cross, the one on Calvary. Tim, that cross that
Yeah.
the Lord carried for us to His death. Yes, a relic of there that is at the church. So yes, I got to see that as well. The church is somewhat modern, but did you know that it's been there since the 1900s? It was actually St. Joseph's Church.
Really?
And then it changed the name later to
To the sh-
shrine.
to the shrine, okay.
Yes, to the shrine of that church. And what I liked especially too is during the mass, Father did shortly after, he actually welcomed a lot of graduates to the altar, and he blessed them and wished them well.
It's a good
Yes,
time of year for
yes,
that.
as they start the new
of course,
career,
yeah.
new career chapter in their life. And we also had a couple of people that made the first Holy Communion.
Oh, okay. So first communions
First
and the
communions,
graduates and ascension.
graduates.
It's a big day.
Yeah, well, newcomers to the church, a lot yesterday, yes. And then I took a lot of pictures afterwards, and Father spent some time. And I want to give out a shout out to him. We talked afterwards, and he gave me a little history about the church. But if anyone wants to learn more about it, you can go to truecross.org. And it's so fascinating. There's so much to see there and so much to learn. So I definitely advise you and recommend that you go to that site.
Yeah, and it's a nice drive down there. It's not too hard to get to, right off of 45.
No, actually, yes, that's right.
In Dickinson.
45, you make, one turn off the freeway, and you're there. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, very cool. Shrine of the True Cross.
Cross,
Actually, great counterbalance to the Shroud of Turin exhibit at the National Museum of Funeral History that we talked about just a few weeks ago, because that's way up on the other side of town in the Spring area. And so we've got the Shroud of Turin exhibit about Jesus' burial and resurrection. And then we've got the Shrine of the True Cross with the actual relic of the wood of the cross there on the other side of town. So kind of like blanketing the whole city there. Jesus' death, burial, resurrection, and ascension, of course. Oh, we should have tried to get a pastor from Ascension, Catholic Parish on to talk to him today. That would have been great for their name day. Well, it's time now for our Loving Choice Minute, where we check in with Loving Choice, the Catholic Pregnancy Help Center. That's a co-sponsor of this program here. Loving Choice is the only Catholic pregnancy help center in Houston, and today we have with us Julie Gamez, who is a volunteer there. Julie, welcome to the Catholic Lunch Break.
Thank you.
Hey, good to have you here. How long have you been volunteering with Loving Choice?
A little over 2 years.
Oh, 2 years now. Okay, so I know that they've only been in existence about 3 years, so you kind of got on board early there. You've probably seen
Yes,
a lot
I
of the changes that have happened with this
Yes,
quick
and it's
growth,
been
yeah?
Lots of good changes, yes.
Very cool. So as a volunteer there, how did you hear about it?
I heard it through the church at Christ the Good Shepherd,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought it was a good organization for me to volunteer at since I had retired.
Okay, good. Well, and you're volunteering. What do you do? What was a typical day look like? And how many hours a week do you put in there? Is it a
I
lot or a
put
little
in
bit?
about 4 hours.
Okay.
I go in usually about 9:30, 9:45, and leave about 12:30, sometimes a little later. And we have clients every day that are in need, whether it be to do a pregnancy test or have ultrasounds.
Okay.
And there's usually, a great need there for these women because they have nowhere else to go.
Nowhere else to
So
go.
they come to us.
Where are they coming from, and what kind of clients do you talk to as you're interviewing them?
And most of them are in the Houston area, but some of them are like as far as Conroe or just further down south in other parts of Houston. And most of them are just very in need of help. Most of them don't have very much money to go to a regular clinic or to go to a doctor, so there's a startup place for them because we can do just the beginning of their pregnancy with a pregnancy test and then follow up with an early ultrasound.
And does it make a difference to you that this is a Catholic pregnancy help center?
Absolutely, because we pray every day for all our clients and for each other, and all our volunteers that come to us, and also our donors who help us out to completely help these women that are in such need.
Well, since we get to check in with Loving Choice each week, I like to know kind of what's new, what's happening there. Are there any interesting clients that you encountered in the last week? Any stories you want to share? Anything like that?
Yes, we had a client who had 3 children and was pregnant with her fourth and wanted to possibly put the fourth one for adoption
Hmm.
because her and her husband didn't feel that they could afford a fourth child. So
Oh man,
we're referring her.
that's got to be hard.
Oh
If
yeah,
you've got three that you're raising already, and
yeah,
you don't think you can afford a fourth, but that's got to be
yeah.
doing a real number on their emotions.
Yes, it is. It is. And on us, we pray for her. And so we're referring her to our counselor so she can speak to her. So we've given her her name and number. So, and she's also going to come back for an ultrasound. So, we're hoping to see her again and see what we can do for her.
Okay, so you and your other volunteers there are able to walk with them through that process of making that
Yes.
choice. I guess
hmm
they could choose at this point. They don't have to put them up for adoption, but they're not abortion minded. Is that right?
As far as I know, she was not,
Good,
but
good.
she was just very, very nervous having, this pregnancy because it was unexpected.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Now, why
hmm
did they come to Loving Choice? Do you know?
I think they looked up for a pregnancy center that was going to be free for them,
I see. Yeah.
and that's why a lot of them come to us because
So,
we don't charge anything for
gotcha.
any of
So
our services.
that makes a huge difference. I mean, if you're able
Oh
to
yeah.
provide that pro bono, then that's
hmm
going to be serving those people who really can't afford it.
Right.
So, what do you need to make that happen? Like in terms of, are you set with volunteers or donations? Well, what is the thing that our listeners can do?
Well, we always need volunteers because we're open so many times, and some of our times are even in the evening, where some people cannot make it until after they get off work for our clients and for our volunteers. And so our ladies need diapers, they need formula, they need clothing for their children, and so there's a great need for them.
Wow. Okay. So if our listeners who maybe are near the Shrine of the True Cross in Dickinson, probably an hour and a half away from where you are, if they're listening and they feel like they want to help, if they go to loving-choice.org, which is the website, loving-choice.org, would they be able to see on the website kind of what they can do in terms of donations?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
They were, and we welcome anyone who's wanting to help in any way, whether volunteer or in monetary or in diapers or anything like that. Those women are, so many of them are just desperate
Yeah.
and need their help.
I heard from another one of the volunteers just on our show, I think it was 2 weeks ago, that there are some tasks that can be done from home. So if someone wants to volunteer their time from home, it might be a way to do that.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, they can actually mind the phone because there's phone calls day and night, and they can
gotcha.
schedule or speak to someone
Okay.
regarding their pregnancies or possible pregnancies.
Well, Julie, our time is coming to an end here, but I want to ask you one last question. What is the part of volunteering at Loving Choice that brings you personally the most joy? What makes you the happiest when you're there at Loving Choice?
My happiest is knowing that our Blessed Mother is there with us, knowing that Jesus Christ that's what he wants us to do. And so that's why we're there, to help the people that are in need and help those ladies that are in such desperate need.
That's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. Julie Gamez, volunteer at Loving Choice Catholic Pregnancy Help Center. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Catholic Lunch Break.
And you're welcome.
Okay, God
Have a
bless. We'll talk to you another time. So loving-choice.org is that website, loving-choice.org. Always make the loving choice. And I'm very excited. We actually, that ties in really well with one of our upcoming interviews. We're going to be talking with Blessed Beginnings, the similar program at the Catholic Charities. So we'll be hearing from Christy Salinas a little bit later on. You're listening to the Catholic Lunch Break, where we catch up on everything Catholic in Houston. Right now, I want to welcome to the program Dr. Richard Lopez, who is the Associate Director of Worship for the Archdiocese of Galveston, Houston. And you're coming back for your, fourth, fifth interview here? You're a regular now.
Yeah, I actually know how to get here now.
Yeah, now you're
It's just a really good thing.
That's awesome.
Happy to be here.
Dr. Rick, you've got a brand new Summer Choral Festival coming up in just a few weeks here, June 17th.
Yes.
Well, tell me about it.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you for having me today, as always. It's always great to be here. This is as you said, this is the first annual Summer Sacred Music Choral Festival, and it will be happening on the weekend of the 16th and 17th of June, as you said, just a few weeks from now. I'm counting the days, as you can imagine. But the actual concert, the performance itself, which I'll talk about in a moment, is the evening of Saturday, June 17th at 7 p.m. That's the actual concert itself for the weekend. And I said the two dates I just shared with you are really the essence of the whole program itself. And we're attempting to do, and I think it's going to go very, very well. There have been some programs around the country that I have been witness to and seen online, so on and so forth, and actually participated in a number of years ago, where let's just call it choir music members from all denominations are invited to come together for a weekend and participate with the culmination of which in a performance of some work or another, or works.
Okay.
So one of the ones that I really looked at very closely has been going on for a number of years in South Carolina, called the River Tree program, River Tree Choral program, and they've been doing this for a while, and that kind of gave me the idea. And so after some consult and some so on and so forth, I got the opportunity to look into this for this coming June. And basically what it is we're inviting 200 church choir singers from all denominations. This is very, very important.
Okay.
This is a sacred choral program, a sacred music program, but we are inviting church choir members from all denominations. It is a fully ecumenical program to come and join us for the weekend in fellowship and preparation for the concert Saturday night.
Okay.
So we literally have opened the door to any and all church choir members. I don't need to tell you, Tim.
But this is hosted by the Catholics of the Archdiocese.
This is hosted by my office on behalf of the Archdiocese. Absolutely correct. And so I brought this to some very important people here in Houston that supported some of my projects before for the Office of Worship. I presented this idea, and I'm happy to tell you I got a lot of support for the very concept. So we've invited, we've sent out the invitation to all denomination of church choir members, and I can't tell you how many those are, but hundreds, literally. Probably thousands of church choir members from all denominations all over Houston are invited to participate in this program, culminating in this concert on Saturday night, the 17th. And I'm pretty pleased so far. We're about a month away, and we have over 100 singers already that have registered to sing with us. And my goal is 200. That's about as many as I can cram on the stage for this performance. But
that's kind of unwieldy choir there.
Yeah,
200.
That's right. But that's the design, and that is the goal. And so we're over 100 right now. We're about just under 110 right now as we speak, and we're still about a month away. So I'm very optimistic and praying daily and fervently for more church choir members from all denominations. This is a multi-denominational, ecumenical, non-denominational.
Yeah. So what are you hoping to accomplish by inviting all the denominations together?
Right.
What's going to be the outcome of that?
The real outcome, I hope, is fellowship. And fellowship in general, right? But also to remind each other and to join with other church choir members from all different kinds of churches all over Houston, and to kind of reinforce what they do. So, I mean, to be honest, the work that we're doing, which is the Requiem for the Living by Dan Forrest, is just large enough that many of our churches, many of our church choirs probably couldn't do this. But this is now very much a standard repertoire in the sacred music repertoire in all over the world, literally, especially here in the United States. So it's just a little bit too big for your typical church choir to do at their parish. But at the same time, it's such that it is a very, what we feel is a very worthwhile experience to do such things, and that they wouldn't get a normal church choir wouldn't get an opportunity to do.
That makes a lot of sense. So,
Yeah.
so not having your regular church choir getting the opportunity to do a
Right.
big piece like this, the Requiem for the Living.
Right.
Can you tell me about this piece, the Requiem for the Living? Now, normally a Requiem is for someone who's died, but
Yes, that's
what does
exactly
that
right.
mean?
Well, the definition itself for the word requiem comes from it's the Latin, of course, from our original music sources and his history of music. But typically it's translated as a music setting for a mass for the dead.
Right.
Which goes back. The original requiems were probably 4th or 5th century when our missal was still in a work in progress. But that really is the typical translation, a musical setting of mass for the dead. And just to quote Dan Forrest, the work is a prayer of rest, of course, for the living, he says, as much as for the deceased. It's a grant us rest, even more than a grant them rest. U.S. grant us, all of us that were left behind rest, as even more than a grant them rest, who have gone to heaven and gone to meet their Maker. So that was really the... I'm sure that was the over idea that he wanted to convey in this kind of a work. It is 5 movements, and he does draw from our typical Requiem Mass, opening the Kyrie, Requiem movement itself, Lamb of God, so on and so forth. And
Is he a Catholic composer?
He is not.
Okay, so
He is
he's
not.
just drawing on the Requiem
Right.
as a kind of for a concert performance here.
That's exactly right.
Is it a recently composed piece? or-
What I read was 2012. I think the premiere performance was in 2013. So we're right about 10 years.
Okay, about
since
10
it was,
years.
Since
So-
it was actually originally
fairly
performed.
recent, but
Yeah,
not post-COVID. Okay.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Requiem for the Living, but that kind of really gets at a lot of the kind of stress that our
That's right.
culture puts us under, especially when people are dying and leaving us, and we're
Right.
left behind to pick up the pieces. I think that the Catholic Church has a lot to offer to that. So bringing these denominations together to perform this big choral masterpiece, this is going to be giving them kind of a taste of what the Catholic Church has to offer musically, right?
Exactly right. And so the piece was chosen because he's a non-Catholic, but clearly this Requiem Mass, dating I think origins 4th or 5th century, we are still being certainly the foundation for this music setting, and for many other music settings that have come along in the last 15 or 20 years as well. But it's because of the prayers, those original prayers from that Mass itself are so important, and so the groundwork for this particular piece. But as a lot of I don't need to say, as a lot of our Mass settings are, we have even our traditional masses are set by many composers, Catholic and non-Catholic, since the 5th, 6th century, and as foundations for larger choral works or larger masterpieces as well. So it is coming from our we are the, dare I say, the original source for a lot of music settings, and the Requiem Mass is no exception. But there have been many great ones over the years. Yeah.
I think I may have told this story before on the show, but I grew up Baptist, and it was actually the music of the liturgy that drew me into the fullness of the faith. It was a long, circuitous route through Episcopalian and then Anglican and now Catholic, but there was the music, especially Gregorian chant, that drew me drew me into the fullness of the faith. And so I think that the Catholic Church really has a wealth of beauty,
Yes.
and that serves evangelism as well,
Exactly right.
in showing people what God's real vision for creation is. He gives us the free will, and we use that for sin, but his vision is that goodness, truth, and beauty will be infused through everything. And so that's one thing I can, bringing together the denominations and the Catholics all together,
Right.
and experiencing that beauty.
Right.
I think you're planting some seeds there that could bear some great fruit later on.
Well, I think that certainly is one of my hopes and dreams for this program, not only to share repertoire that perhaps they would not normally get the opportunity to do, to share with them, but also to share the beauty of the of what we do and how important music is to the liturgy itself. We as parish parish choir members from all denominations. I mean, you could spend your life in the choir loft at Second Baptist or First Lutheran or whatever the case may be, and not get an opportunity to do a piece like this. But that's what I was trying. That's really one of my primary goals, and to be not only to be exposed to it, but to actually experience it with fellow singers from all denominations. You have a Baptist next to you on your left and a Lutheran on the right, and so on and so forth. And yet, we're all doing similar ministries all over Houston, all over the world, literally. But you can't go. You don't have to go too terribly far, or to a fellow church down the street, and at a service on Sunday morning, and we're all doing the same thing. We're all praying to God. We're all using the gifts that God gave to us before we were born, and by serving Him through this ministry and serving Him through the church and through the gifts that He's given to us.
Yeah.
And that really is one of the overall goals. And there will be a lot of this will be one of the underlying but very, very important aspects of this weekend, is that I wanted to open the doors. This music is sacred music in general has a very, very important dimension of music composition for centuries. But the good news is, along the way, and especially over the last 20, 30, 40 years, there have been some of the greatest composers living today and recently deceased have taken this genre and rededicated it. And because for a while, I mean, it kind of went to let's just say the
Right.
back
When
room.
you say genre, you mean the requiem.
I'm talking about
come from the
sacred
Catholic
music,
Church.
the requiem and sacred music in general.
Yeah.
For the world class composers, we kind of took a back seat. But now I'm very happy to say that that whole genre is really rising to a whole new level of respect. And really with the rest of the living composers and recently deceased composers as well.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
So you're listening to the Catholic Lunch Break, where we catch up on everything Catholic in Houston. We're talking with Dr. Rick Lopez, who's the Associate Director for the Office of Worship of the Archdiocese of Galveston, Houston, about a brand new first inaugural
Right.
Summer Sacred Music Choral Festival, which is coming up on Saturday, June 17th. Now, the concert is going to be, the concert that culminates the whole weekend is
Yes,
going to
sir.
be that evening,
that's
Saturday
right.
evening, June 17th. What other activities are the musicians going to be doing throughout that weekend?
We have the weekend starts on Friday night.
Okay.
And we'll be gathering for the first read-through rehearsal of the program. And one of the things I will be part of that evening as well is just kind of saying hello and introducing each other to your fellow choir members from all over. And I expect that we'll be doing a lot of fellowship that night with like as I said, fellow choir members from all denominations that night. So we'll do our first read through and rehearsal for the work itself. After that, we're going to have kind of a social hour afterwards, informal, but at the same time, there's nothing like breaking bread at any kind of a gathering like this. So we'll be doing some sharing of hors d'oeuvres and so on and so forth. Again, to continue that whole socialization.
And actually, I noted here on the press release that even though this is a Catholic hosted thing,
Yes.
the venue is actually going to be Houston Christian University.
That's exactly right.
Another funny tie. That was where I worked before I worked here, so it's a funny thing there. But the Dunham Theater, they got a great organ there too.
We're very, 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 very pleased to be doing this there. Our resources were kind of limited, and to be very honest, this is when I was really wringing my hands about a year ago, about where to do this. I mean, it wasn't hard to convince people this is a great idea, great program, so on and so forth. But I really struggled with where can we do this that they wouldn't have to hawk my car.
Of course, yeah.
Exactly right. So the good news is that after a little bit more research and diligence into this, one of the supporter of this approached me about the idea of approaching what was HBU and now HCU about and that they had a theater there, and my eyes just lit up. I said they do, because I did not know this, but that theater, Dunham Theater's been there quite a while, but
Yes,
I just for whatever reason wasn't aware of it. So one thing led to the other, and I set up a meeting. I visited the campus and visited the theater, and that was it. I mean, I crossed myself as soon as I walked out of the building and said, one way or another, we're going to make this work at Dunham. And I have to tell you, I'm very happy to tell you, Tim, that the folks at HCU and that manage the theater have been nothing more, couldn't be more gracious about it, and welcoming and cooperative in the whole process. And at this point, it's just been a great culmination. It's just worked out very, very well.
So who else has been instrumental in making this happen? I know the Scanlon Foundation's been involved. Dr. Kevin Klotz.
Right.
Tell me about who's your team that's making this happen.
Well, I have team members, of course, from my office, the Office of Worship. We have a team right now of 2 associates, a director, and two office assistants, and they've been very, very helpful in helping me organize this and keep it going and design it. I will say this now. I'm going to shout out to her right now. One of Scanlon Foundation's greatest, I gotta believe, is associates in a lot of these projects is Jeannie Bergman, and Jeannie has been nothing less than unbelievable in helping me, designing the literature for publication, designing articles to be printed. We got a great. I just took this out of the most recent Catholic Herald, and she designed this ad for the Catholic Herald that just came out 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
this is her
nice.
design,
Yeah.
just as an example. This is her design, and that's just one thing that of the many that she has helped us so
you're
so
very
much with.
blessed. You're very blessed to have
beyond
some
blessed.
great support there.
I am
Yeah.
beyond blessed, and because I don't need to tell you, projects like this, you can't do them by yourself.
Oh, no.
No, you have to have a team.
How long has it taken you to put this together? Like, when did you get that idea?
I had the idea a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I've been working on this for about a year and a half. Just about a year and a half in total. Had to make sure I had the proper support from Scanlon, which I ultimately did do. Thank God. Thank you very much, Larry. And then putting the team together soon thereafter. So the actual team has been in place just over a year now. The concept was about a year and a half, almost 2 years old, and I'm very happy to tell you that I thought it was a great idea, but what am I? But so I. But I'm happy to say that when I presented it to some real key people as a concept, that it was very well received, and then it wasn't much after that I was off and running with it with the support that I really needed to have to make it happen.
Awesome. Okay, so I know we need to move on with the show, but I wanted to ask 2 more things, especially in regard to our listeners.
Yes.
So for those who are not musically inclined, what will they get out of this if they attend the concert?
What they will get out of it is the ability to even be watching a chorus of 150 to 200 singers is very unusual, and these singers are there'll be some church professionals certainly, but 90% of these church choir singers are your regular mom, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, or Mr. and Mrs. Lopez that just love singing in the choir and have little or no real training or experience, but love to do it, and that's all that matters. So we're looking at a giant church choir. I don't
Like
care what.
gigantic.
Like gigantic.
Your typical church choir, 20 people maybe.
Right.
So
Yeah,
we're
that's right.
talking up to 200 here.
Right.
This is going to be something you're not going to get very
We're
often.
talking about Mormon
Yeah.
tabernacle size here.
Okay.
We're talking about Mormon tabernacle size.
So it's got to be like, bring the popcorn, bring the kids,
Yep.
bring the hot dogs, and you're
Bring
going to
it
have
all.
like a,
Bring it all. Exactly
okay.
right.
Okay.
And so what I think at the very least they'll get is an exposure to not only to witness, to be a part of this program, to witness church choir members from all over Houston present this beautiful music, but I think that at the end of the evening they're also going to be, I think they're going to take in a beautiful message about how powerful sacred music done well can be,
Okay.
and how touching it really, really can be, and how prayerful it can be.
So everyone should go and attend the concert.
Right.
Is it ticketed or is it free? Or?
It is ticketed, and
Okay.
I happen to have the website right here.
Okay, go for it.
And for tickets, or if you're a singer and still interested, this is the same
That was
website.
the second thing I was going to
Right.
ask. Like for musicians,
Right.
this is
we're,
the same
we're
website.
still looking for
Okay.
some more. We still have time for some more singers.
Gotcha.
And but this is also for tickets. www.archgh.org, which is our archdiocese website. archgh.org /altogether Choral Festival, CHORAL Festival altogether. So www.archgh.org /Choral Festival. You'll find ticket information there and singer registrations all in that link. And I said we still have room for some more singers. We're just over 100 right now. My goal is 200. I've designed the stage layout with the people at Dedham Theater I said I need room for 200, and they I made them cross themselves and say, okay, Dr. Lopez, we'll make it work.
Yeah,
So-
and these Baptists are like,
Oh,
oh, boy,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So, well, those Catholics can be demanding. I said, well, but anyway.
Well, we
so-
do it right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, we do it
Yes,
right.
yes, sir,
Oh,
that
my
is
gosh.
right. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Dr. Richard Lopez, the Associate Director of Worship at the Archdiocese of Galveston, Houston. Go to archgh.org/choral festival for those tickets or for joining in on the choir. The date is June 17th, June 16th for Friday night rehearsal.
Right.
So get on that right now. You're less than a month away. archgh.org/choral festival. You're listening to the Catholic Lunch Break. Dr. Rick, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim, very, very much for your time.
It was an absolute pleasure. When we come back, we're going to be talking with Christy Salinas from Catholic Charities, the Blessed Beginnings program, about the wonderful things that they are doing to support parents in downtown, midtown, all over town. And you're listening to the Catholic Lunch Break. My name is Tim Mott. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Deacon Glenn Trahan here, owner of the TRW family of companies and proud sponsor of the Guadalupe Radio Network. For 60 years, TRW has helped our clients to optimize the use of their facilities with operable wall products, creating effective, flexible, and acoustically controlled workspaces, making them more productive and successful. And TRW is committed to supporting ministries that also make our community and our world a better place, just like this Guadalupe Radio Network station. You can contact me at trwfamily.com. God bless.
Cafe Catholica, the popular young adult speaker series, is returning this coming July. All young adults are invited to join us at St. Anne Catholic Church to hear our dynamic speakers starting on July 10th with Cardinal DiNardo, July 17th with Brian Butler, and July 24th with Paul George. The nights will run from 5:15 to 9:15 p.m. and include confession, mass, dinner, and the talk. Registration is free, but donations are accepted. For more information, go to cafecatholica.com.
High school students, are you ready to write? Come to the High School Writers Institute June 12th through 16th for a pre-collegiate experience featuring dedicated faculty. Join guest lecturer James Matthew Wilson, literary rock star of the Catholic Cultural Revival. You'll explore poetry, fiction, essay, and sacred story, then put your own spin on what you write. The beautiful University of St. Thomas campus will enhance your writing. Go to CatholicLiteraryArts.org, CatholicLiteraryArts.org.
The Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston is excited to announce their first ever Summer Sacred Music Choral Festival. Join choir members of all denominations for fellowship and rehearsal on Friday, June 16th and Saturday, June 17th at Houston Christian University. Raise your voice in praise and thanksgiving in a performance of the choral and orchestral masterpiece Requiem for the Living by American composer Dan Forrest under the direction of Houston conductor Dr. Kevin Klotz. Details at archgh.org/choral festival.
Listen to The Spirit World with Debbie Georgianni and Adam Bly.
Demonic activity appears to be on the rise. I'm Debbie Georgianni, and I invite you to join Adam Bly and me this weekend for The Spirit World.
On The Spirit World, we offer a Catholic perspective on angels, demons, and how the spiritual and physical worlds interact.
Saturdays at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern on the Guadalupe Radio Network and other EWTN radio affiliates. Visit grnonline.com/spiritworld.
Hi, this is Walter Crawford with the Catholic Homeschool Conference. On June 9th and 10th, we will be hosting an online conference for Catholic homeschoolers. There will be live and pre-recorded talks, rosary to start each day of the conference, interactive workshops, parent networking, and much more. More information can be found at CatholicHomeschoolConference.com. That is CatholicHomeschoolConference.com.
Southeast Houston Cardiology is a proud sponsor of this Guadalupe Radio Network station and The Doctor is In with Dr. Ray Garendi. Southeast Houston Cardiology has been serving patients with heart disease and vascular disease with up-to-date, compassionate, and comprehensive care for more than 20 years. Southeast Houston Cardiology has 2 locations, Webster and Pasadena. You can contact them online at southeasthoustancardiology.com or 281-338-4004. You're listening to the Catholic Lunch Break. We're catching up on everything Catholic in Houston. We've had a great conversation with Dr. Rick Lopez so far, and also Carol, our wonderful volunteer who's visiting every single church in the Archdiocese. Well, our executive director, Wyatt Goolsby, was at his first parish festival, officially manning a GRN table there. Just a couple weeks ago. So this month, Catholics in Friendswood have been marking 50 years of ordination for a local priest. Just a little over a week ago, members of Mary Queen Catholic Church held a celebration for Father James Kaczynski, and our KSHJ Executive Director, Wyatt Goolsby, recently sat down with Father Jim to learn more about his religious order and the founding of Mary Queen.
Father Jim, how long have you been the pastor at Mary Queen?
I'm in my 10th year at Mary Queen.
And tell me a little bit about the order that founded Mary Queen Catholic Church.
Our parish of Mary Queen has always been the foundation of the missionaries of Our Lady of La Salette. As a matter of fact, the grounds were in their possession. They were owners of the property because I think they were thinking about the possibility of developing a seminary. Also, we're staffed at St. Peter's, Peter the Apostle, so that was where we started. That was the closest Catholic church to the medical centers at that time, so a lot of our priests had that responsibility as well. So there's a lot of history there. But then that's when NASA moved into the area, and that became an attraction, and everything grew very quickly. The Catholics that were up at St. Peter's were coming down here, to be close to the jobs and all that, and needed some Roman Catholic priest to have Mass on weekends. And so they started coming down here because there were parishioners up at St. Peter's, and they asked them to come down here. And that's how it started, that the La Salettes were continuing from the birth of this parish. It was a mission, and then it grew into a parish some years after that.
And nowadays, Mary Queen is a very lively parish.
Yes, there are a lot of people from other surrounding towns. And the population is just under the 3,000 families. I'm enjoying the parish here. With my age and my anniversary coming up, 50 years of ordination.
Congratulations on 50 years, Father Jim. Tell me, how important is it for the church to be a community and to foster that kind of environment?
Very much. It's a wonderful community, and the people themselves have come forward with suggestions to really involve the people that are here, call them to serve the church and with their talents and their abilities. Our parish council said we need to reach out to the young families, just to invite them to gathering on First Fridays in the evening. And that's very successful. How do you feel that spirit of community?
How have you seen parishioners, people maybe that you've known for a long time, grow in their relationship with God?
There are a lot of ways that I think people that have been here right from the beginning. The devotions to Mary, our Mother, I think the spiritual has always been very important in the community itself. I think there have always been the prime movers of saying this is what we should be doing. So even the older folk have been very conscious about retreats. The women's ministry is very much oriented towards a prayerful structure in their meetings and their organizations. The days of recollection or short retreats or things like that.
And I'm sure it's a joy for so many people to have so many opportunities to participate in the life of the church. Father Jim, again, congratulations on your 50th anniversary. Thank you so much for talking with us.
I appreciate your ministry here, communication. That's important. Wish you well.
And that's Mary Queen in Friendswood on the south side of town. We try to cover all the parishes and feature them here on the Catholic Lunch Break and on the station as throughout the week as well, not just on Mondays at noon. But any parish, if you have a big event coming up, like 50th anniversary of the ordination of your pastor, or your name day like Ascension, or anything like that, or an event like a choral festival, then please reach out to us here at the radio station, at the Guadalupe Radio Network, and take advantage of our free publicity. We are a nonprofit, we are donation supported, and so we are able to do that for parishes here in the Archdiocese. If you attend a parish, you can email us there at grnonline.com. Or if you work at a parish or you are in a ministry, then you can participate in that as well. You get these free 30 seconds, and we could do interviews on this program as well. So encourage your pastor to reach out to us, and reach out to me, grnonline.com. My name is Tim, and you'll find my email right there on the front page. Well, right now, I'd like to welcome to the Catholic Lunch Break Christy Salinas, who is the director of the Blessed Beginnings program at Catholic Charities. So, Christy, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
So good to have you here. Blessed Beginnings, it's actually very similar to the Loving Choice that we talked to earlier, Catholic Pregnancy Help Center. But Blessed Beginnings focuses really on parents, right?
Yes, and we cover the ages of 0 through 5. And so we do provide pregnancy services. Our main goal is to provide education, because we know that for a lot of our childbirth education classes, they're very expensive, and especially for our families that can't afford even food.
Mm-hmm.
And we're asking, hey, have you thought about what your labor plan is going to be? There's a hospital class that's $300. Yeah, they're not going to take that.
No, they're just like, I'll wing it.
Yes.
But no, they don't have to wing it because you're there. You're there. Okay,
That's
so
right.
Blessed Beginnings. Tell me all of the different services that you provide. What's the elevator pitch for that?
Yeah, so because Catholic Charities has so many programs, we are one of the entries to receive wraparound services. We provide free pregnancy and parenting classes. We do that in English and in Spanish, and we do cover the Archdiocese. We are a very small team, but we do go to the Clear Lake area. We are also here in Midtown, downtown, and then we are also in Fort Bend. So we do cover as much area as we can, and trying to provide multiple spaces for parents to be able to meet with us. But of course, the beauty of COVID was that we were able to move to Zoom. And so we do provide online sessions with our parents, because transportation has always been a huge issue for a lot of our families. And the location where we're at is located with our food pantry. So if they're able to have transportation to make it to our downtown location, then they can come receive a class, receive material assistance, and then also receive food.
Wow. Okay. So the multiple services there, and you're kind of like one point of entry for that. You get people to come for the Blessed Beginnings, and then you can refer them to those other services as well there.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of our parents are referred to our counseling program, so we're grateful that Catholic Charities has a plethora of different services regarding basic needs, rental assistance, counseling, if they need immigration assistance, that we have all of those services in-house, but also we have great connections in the community as well to be able to provide those referrals to other agencies that maybe can assist them as well.
Okay. So I know that education is a big part of the Blessed Beginnings program.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of topics do you cover, and how do people respond to that? Like, is it a chore for them, or do they really light up in these classes and enjoy it?
Yeah, because it's mostly things that they already know, right? Like self-care. there. Everybody's like, I already know how to take care of myself,
we
right?
know,
Right.
But do we do it?
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think as you know, we always need helpful reminders, people supporting us and telling us it's okay to take a breather. It's okay to put your baby down in a safe place to take a breath. Like, you don't always have to try to figure it out. You can call us, you can call our counseling line. That, you know, there's always options for you to say, okay, what are our choices? In our pregnancy classes, I always like to teach using the acronym BRAIN. So saying, what are the benefits of doing this? What are the risks? Are there any alternatives? What does your intuition say? And then you can actually say no, right? And so just something very simple, but to give our parents those tools that, and a lot of times they're thinking on the spot, like, are we going to have food today? Are we going to be able to pay my rent? Am I going to be able to have money to take care of gas? You know, those things like that they're more worried about, but also trying to refocus their attention on what's really important, and that's your family, yourself.
Yeah. What are the biggest challenges that you find in teaching people? What kind of pushback do you get?
Time.
Oh, time.
Right?
Okay.
And it's really hard, especially when you're pulled in so many different areas, and many of our parents aren't working right now, and so even struggling, okay, I can't find a job because I can't find childcare, affordable childcare at that. And so they're trying to just figure out what are the resources available to me to help me and my family. But we always say, well, how do you spell time to a kid? And that's LOVE. So,
yes.
you know, how to give them those like pauses to say, it's okay, you're trying. Like, we're all trying our very best, right? So, yeah.
And what do you work with kids at all too? I mean, obviously the parents are going to probably be bringing their kids with them.
They do. Yeah. They do bring their kids, but our focus is always on the parents, because even, you know, for us Catholics, we say the domestic church is what's most important, right? Because if we know that the parents don't know the faith, their children aren't going to know the faith. Right. And so the same applies when you're thinking about, okay, 90% of a child's brain is formed by the age of 5. And so when you're thinking about when there's food insecurity, or if they're moving constantly, those kinds of traumatic events that happen in the child's life, that ultimately if parent is not in a good space, if they're not taking care of themselves, if they don't have a support group for them, then all of those effects are going to trickle down to their child. Yeah. And so in a way, we do provide those services, but we're targeting parents, because we know without parent being well, child can't be well.
Have you noticed any changes or trends in the past few years of people not being well? Has it been different or the same?
I feel regarding diaper need, it's increased. You know, the United States statistics is 1 in 3 parents will suffer from diaper need. And I really feel like it's 1 in 2. I mean, I think that a lot of people have recognized Blessed Beginnings as the diaper program. We've kind of been synonymous with diapers. 211, anyone who calls 211, the Texas Helpline, they refer to us to get diapers. There's very few organizations that are able to assist with the bigger size diapers. So especially when you're thinking about toddlers and the expense and just how much energy it takes to potty train. And when you're thinking about someone who's like literally trying to figure out the day, and maybe they're sleeping in their car, and then trying to think, oh, I got to potty train my kid. No, that is not the focus, right? They're trying to figure out housing, right? And so to be able to provide pull-ups for a family has been really helpful. And we see that, you know, especially when they're wearing size 6 or 7, we don't get those sizes donated to us because everyone's thinking about the preemie or the little baby. So, we're always grateful for newborn and size 1 diapers, but the majority of our families are coming to us and they need size 5, size 6, size 7, and pull-ups.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so where do you get those from when you're running low? Do you put out a call, or do you ask for a financial donation so you can buy them yourselves, or?
So Catholic Charities does purchase the diapers when we don't receive any donations. We're very grateful to partners in our community that have supported, and especially in the month of May where we're honoring Mary.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of our Catholic daughters come through for us and getting even the little things that we necessarily can't buy, like bottles and clothes. Like our clients love receiving new clothes, and so we don't necessarily go out and buy those things, but we'll buy the diapers and the wipes because those are the basic essentials. But a lot of parents have actually been asking us for more basic, like shampoo and laundry detergent and toothpaste. And so we're grateful then to partner with different dentists, and they'll donate toothbrushes to us and for the kids as well. And so as we're going into the summer, a lot of the parents are asking, what are we going to do? Are we going to have like a camp, or, because in the past we've been able to do that. And so we're looking to partner with either churches, finding a space where we could provide a day where we could just, even if it's like 2 hours, and do face painting and, just provide the material assistance to our parents, but also just a space to be together in community.
Okay, excellent. And so what can our listeners do? Like if they want to get involved, they want to help, what can they do for you?
So on our website at CatholicCharities.org, on our page, Blessed Beginnings, we have a link that takes you straight to our Amazon page where you could purchase diapers and wipes, and different links that takes you to even car seats, because our parents are usually in need of car seats as well. So some of those links are there, but you could also donate financially if you wanted to, or do a drive with your group, maybe at your church if you want to do a group for bottles or clothes, things like that. So yeah, we're grateful for any help.
Well, it's all there at CatholicCharities.org. So Christy Salinas, Program Director for Blessed Beginnings at Catholic Charities, thank you so much for coming back on the Catholic Lunch Break and sharing your wonderful works of mercy with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. Carol, this has been a great show. Taylor, thank you so much for running the board. You guys are doing an awesome job over there. Listeners, thank you very much for joining us here on the Catholic Lunch Break. And if you want to catch this show again, or you want to share it with a friend of yours, or you want to subscribe to it and listen to it when it's not live, you can do that on any of your podcasting platforms, or you can do that with the Guadalupe Radio Network app. Go ahead and download that from your app store, Guadalupe Radio Network, and look for our logo. It's a cross, it's blue, it's got the radio waves coming off of it. It's great. Well, the Catholic Lunch Break is underwritten in part by Loving Choice, Catholic Pregnancy Help Center, very similar to the Blessed Beginnings program we were talking about just now. Guided by the Holy Spirit and the teachings of the Catholic Church, Loving Choice extends God's love in the form of emotional, educational, material, and spiritual support to parents and families as they embrace the challenges and the blessings that can come from an unplanned pregnancy. Loving Choice is a place any woman can go for help and information when she is facing this unexpected, emotionally, possibly scary situation. She can take advantage of free pregnancy tests, free ultrasounds, and the volunteers at Loving Choice listen and provide compassionate options without judgment or pressure. You could be one of those volunteers. Find out more at loving-choice.org. Always make the loving choice, loving-choice.org. And that will do it for this edition on the 7th week of Easter of the Catholic Lunch Break. Stay tuned for Dr. David Anders coming up next with Call to Communion, answering the toughest questions that you or anyone, Catholic or non-Catholic, can throw at him about the Catholic faith, the fullness of the faith, and that is the quality of program that you get here on the Guadalupe Radio Network. You can also sign up for our email list. I just put out a call for volunteers of our own there. So go to grnonline.com, sign up for that email list. Until next week, stay Catholic, Houston, and may God richly bless you.